Tools Thursday, kind of our favorite of our themes that we do every week. Kind
I
of
know, I
love
like Website Wednesday.
Website Wednesday is stressful for me, man. I'm on the spot. I never know what's coming. So, but
But
this one
it's
is
so
easy because you
good.
guys do a lot of the lifting.
It's so good.
So anyway, Tools Thursday. Dr. V's going first. Dr. V and I have a little bit of a theme, not much, but a little bit of a theme inside Tools Thursday, where we
Yeah.
want to show two things that you've definitely heard of and probably even used, but they have a feature that you probably did not really realize,
Yeah.
Okay.
and are useful just for the feature in
Yep.
Dr. V's case. So Dr. V, you can share your screen, or you're just going to talk about it.
I'm
All right, here
showing
we
it.
go.
There it is. So you would think that TikTok is a social media platform. Yes, very popular. More traffic than Google last year.
Wow.
And this continues. It is just a massive behemoth of traffic right now. And so, I don't have a lot of followers and other things like that, but I play on the platform mainly because I repurpose TikTok videos into Instagram and YouTube shorts.
Okay.
So I actually have found that I can use TikTok as a video editor. And it's got one of the best editing platforms out there because, as you can see, maybe from this, there are little stickers. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do with this. There, the animations, the overlays, there's all kinds of stuff that happens within here. And as a result, I find that even if I were to never post again on TikTok, I would still use it as a video editor. Now, the caveat is, as we talked about before, that if you're going to repurpose a TikTok video elsewhere, you have to remove the watermark because a lot of platforms don't like to see the little TikTok thing in the, well, it appears on the left side and the right side of your videos. And there are techniques for doing that. I think we went over it at one point. And if not, we can do it sometime in the future with things like InShot and Vixer and others, because those are some of my favorites too. But never underestimate the power of TikTok. Also, I mean, there are special effects like I think this one. See? There are all kinds of things. And this was very popular on Instagram with this little sort of a bizarre type of an effect. And so, you never know what you can accomplish with this. And I will say that, I'm a big fan of stickers, and they're the best stickers in the world are on TikTok. And what's very interesting, too, is if you go into the audio section within TikTok, what you'll find is they will tell you the trending audios if you click the right little buttons to the right. And sometimes they'll also give you the information as to how many other videos have used that particular sound. Now, you may argue, and people have argued that you don't necessarily need a viral sound in order to get a viral video. But I will say that ignore the audios completely, because if you use it as a video editor and you then try to download it, the audio will not be accepted readily by Instagram, YouTube, and others. So you have to use a little bit of caution. You have to modify whatever you download to repurpose elsewhere. But I mean, as a video editor for short form video, this thing is really excellent. I mean, I do find I use my hand a lot like that. Like, I'm not a fan of the chop for the Kansas City Chiefs, but this is the type of stuff. This one, for example, I'll just show you this little one. You'd never think about this. 5-second video with text moving very quickly blew up on Instagram.
Right.
Didn't do that well on TikTok. So I will say, I'm going to stop the share here, that this is something that you should really consider using TikTok as a tool rather than seeing it merely as a video posting.
So it's not a cul-de-sac, it's a street.
It's a street. It's a highway. It's an expressway. It's the on-ramp to short-form video creation.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, I think you had to leave because your wife is...
I got to leave shortly here, but I can hang out for another 2 or 3 minutes.
No choice. So I want to show you, very similar. Everyone, of course, has heard of LinkedIn, but not many people know about this thing. So you would use the post inspector, and let's just, I'll just have to pick something. I don't even know what I'm doing here. But in a website. So you would... when you make something, you post a blog post or you create a new website or a new landing page or anything like that, an article somewhere on a site, and you go ahead. Sometimes you forget, right? Sometimes, oh, like I didn't really want that image, or that image has a mistake in it. And when social media sites, and so I think every social media site has a thing like that, a post inspector, but this is LinkedIn. If you go and you put in your URL and your blog post or whatever, this one doesn't actually have anything, which is a good reminder. It will tell you what LinkedIn is going to show, because and the thing about LinkedIn is it will keep the same image for a really long time in its own database, which is to say you can make as many updates to the image as you want and then be very frustrated because LinkedIn doesn't seem to go and get the new image. It keeps using the one that it already got the first time, and that's what it tries to stick with. So what you can do is once every 30 minutes or so, you can go in and you can click the inspect button, and inspect is doing what you'd expect it to do. It's going out and looking at it. Let me try if I can get something with another image. I'm not sure I can. So it'll go and it'll pull an image. If you make a change to the image, let's say you made a spelling mistake on it, or you wanted to use a different image altogether, or a color or whatever. See, none of these. I clearly need to go back to drop funnels and add in some images. If you make a change, you can come back to here. And when it says inspect, what it's really doing is forcing a refresh on LinkedIn's website itself. So instead of you being stuck with the very first thing you ever did, or stuck with a mistake, or in my case, like being stuck with no image at all, I can make a change to this image, come back, in about 30 minutes, force it to inspect it again, and that's the image that will be reflected on LinkedIn. So if you don't know that this tool exists, it's called the LinkedIn Post Inspector, and I've put it in the chat. If you don't know that link exists, you can be very frustrated if you make a mistake and then you try to fix it, and you've made the fix, you've uploaded the new image, and you've done everything right, but LinkedIn ignores all of your fixes. This is why. It doesn't go out by default every time someone goes and gets it. It grabs it one time, it caches it, and it never updates it unless you manually force it to update it. So that's how you do it.
I just have a quick comment to make, which is
Sure.
Today is Cinco de Mayo, and Jasper, formerly Jarvis, would take every single Mexican blog post subject line that I have and always offer Cinco de Mayo, even if it's Christmas. So
Right.
today is one of the first times that the Jasper platform actually works correctly.
So it's technically it's like a clock.
And
that's
with
right
that,
twice a
I'm
day.
out of here. We'll see you, gentlemen. I'll look forward to the replay later.
See
Okay.
you.
Good.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, and then let's see. So that's the post inspector, and the next two are. This is something you may not think about, and yet we've all been, either as individuals or as business people, we've all been in a situation where we sent an email to somebody and they didn't reply. We thought they were ignoring us, or they weren't interested in our offer, and it turns out it went into their spam. And who checks their spam? I mean, I barely even check spam. What you can do is this one and another free site. So let me post this in the chat, actually. I'll post these in the chat as soon as I'm finished on with them. This one is called Glock Apps, but they have a tool called Spam Testing. And then there's mail-tester.com. What it does is it gives you a unique one-time only email address to send an email to from the account that you think might be ending up in people's spam folders. And so you copy this, right, to your clipboard. You paste it as the addressee in whatever email you send, and then you just write anything or nothing. It doesn't matter, and then you send it. And then you come back to the website and you check your score. And by then, usually within seconds, it's received the email. You want to give it 30 seconds or a minute, that's fine. And it will build for you a report of all the different ways in which your email is or is not being flagged as spam, and give you instructions on how to improve. Now, they both operate exactly the same way, but just like everything on the internet, you're always better off doing two. So you see, it operates the same way. It gives you like a one-time address, and then you send an email to that address. You click on Get Report, and you get a report. So I can almost guarantee you that unless you send very, very few emails, you're probably ending up in someone's spam folder some percentage of the time. And the steps are very easy to follow, to fix. Some of them are impossible to fix. I happen to use Google Workspaces. Is that what it's called now, John? They keep changing the name. It was Google Apps for Small Business.
Yeah, I think so.
Google Business. I forget. I think it's called Workspaces now. Of course, millions and millions of businesses use Google Workspaces and host their email on Google, even though it looks like it's dean@waycreative.com. It's actually being handled by Gmail, but you'd never know the Gmail was involved.
Right.
Now, of course, lots of spammers use Gmail. So the fact that I get the same recommendation both times. I have very high scores now, and I've done my tweaking, and I've worked out my issues. But I do have one flag that will never go away, and it says your mail servers are often used by spammers. Well, they're Google's mail servers. They're used by hundreds of millions of people, and so there's no way that I can get past that without changing mail servers and mail services altogether. But except for that, everything else was very easy to fix. And once it's done, by the way, you don't fix it with the content of your email. It's not like use fewer links or use this font. It's not stuff like that. What it'll tell you, go to GoDaddy or whatever, and you haven't turned on this one thing, and here's how to do it. And you click on the one thing, and all of a sudden, your score goes from 82% delivery score to 99% delivery score, because there's something that you hardly knew about, like a spiff or a demarc or indicator that was so simple to do, it took you less than a minute, and all of a sudden, your deliverability jumps up to almost perfect. So mail-tester.com and the other one, I'll post them into the chat right now. Highly recommend them. They don't cost anything. They're very simple to use. The fixes are very simple to do. And we all rely, even in 2022, we all rely on email so much for our business and for marketing that having even a tiny percentage of your outbound emails ending up in spam is really not acceptable if you can get around it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll add one to this one.
Oh, yeah?
Something I wasn't planning on talking about at all, actually. But there's a program I use quite frequently. You know how sometimes you'll send an email out and you're going, geez, I wonder if this person read my email.
Yeah.
I believe it's called Mail Tracker. I think it's mailtracker.com. And what it allows you to do is you'll send out that email to whoever, and it tells you whether or not the mail's been read or not. So it tracks it. It tracks if they open it again. It tracks it.
So you have to do that. You have to use it before you send the email, I guess.
You have to use it before you send the
Right.
email.
So how that works, folks, in case you ever wondered, is it puts a little tiny pixel, like
Yep.
a little tiny one. You can't even see it with the human eye, but the software can see it. And what it is it opens up. It's a little link that opens up just a little tiny something somewhere else on the internet. And that's how they know, well, you opened it, because as soon as you open it, the call out to that little website gets pulled. And so that's how Facebook and Google and everyone, they know what you're doing. They track you around the internet. It's things like this, these little tiny, not visible by the human eye pixels.
They do all the stuff. So I guess
Yeah.
is it my turn?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, I got quite a bit to cover. I actually pulled out
Okay.
quite a few things today. So if I'm covering too much, you can just tell me.
Sure. Share your
Stop.
screen. Where are we going first?
There we go. So one thing that we used to use quite frequently way back was a little tool called Snappa. So I'm gonna start at the bottom and work my way up, because it's the
Okay.
way they are in my thing here. And what that
Are you
is,
gonna share your screen?
I'm trying.
Okay.
How am I doing?
Right. There it is.
There we go. Okay. So a lot of times you don't need the full force of Canva, but you just need to do some quick resizing,
Right.
little things like that. I found this to be like super easy to do that kinds of stuff with. And so I just keep it around, if just in case maybe I've got something else going on in Canva and I need to resize something. This is a great little tool for making small changes like that. So that's one I was going to talk about.
Okay. Well, what's Plio?
What is Plio? Let's go down to the end. So Ply there's a lot of great new AI email advertising tools.
Okay.
And one of the things that I love about them is, as you can see over on the right-hand side here, they'll go through, and maybe you've got an ad that's already working for you on Facebook. They'll help you bring it over to Google, help you, make it better on Instagram, YouTube, whatever it might be. So the tools that we use to do advertising are getting a lot smarter these days.
Yeah.
And two of them that I like that I've been playing around a little bit is this Ply. This Ply is one, and then the other one is a tool called Ad You Need. And funny enough, I looked at this morning. It says, "We're sorry, but version 1 is down, but version 2 is coming up. So it's a new platform. But again, you can see, Facebook ads to ads on Instagram, to Google and YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads. It just helps you to bring ads over from one platform to another and
So you only basically need to make your ad in one place, and then you can just import it
pretty,
to here, and it'll do its
pretty
magic.
much, pretty
It'll
much.
resize it and all that kind of stuff for other places.
Yep, that's the way it appears. I'm still kind of new to both of them. They're both fairly new apps, and like I said, they both use a certain amount of AI. But you can see even with this one, you can work right within Canva to create your ad copy as you're building the ad in the platform. So kind of cool. So there's some great new ad platforms coming out. So other thing I want to talk about is I don't know where you typically go to buy your domain names, but one of the common questions I get is, man, where do I get my domain name from? And most people tend to go to GoDaddy. Do you know why GoDaddy is a awful place to go buy your domain name at?
I have one domain, way.org, and
Okay.
it's the only thing that I keep on GoDaddy
Okay.
because it's so central to all my email that and everything else over the last 50, 16 years. Everything else I have at Google Domains.
Okay. So and that's kind of common. But GoDaddy, one of the things that drives me crazy about them, although they're a major market maker. So if
Trying to
you're
sell me
looking,
stuff, GoDaddy does.
yeah, if you're looking to sell
They'll
domain
call
names,
me and try to sell me stuff.
right. I mean, GoDaddy is the place to sell your domain. So
Yeah,
even though you have a domain registered someplace else, you may still ultimately end up selling it on GoDaddy. But buying it on GoDaddy is another story. So if you go to buy your domain names on GoDaddy, what usually happens is, let's say you go and you look up a domain name that you're interested in, and
right.
you'll start to type that in, and you've got it up there. Next thing you know, hey, my domain name is gone. When you come back,
Yeah, that's
you
very
gotta
common.
buy it. You know
Right.
why? GoDaddy bought it,
Yep.
and then they want to
All
charge
the
you
interest and
$1 million
they
to
snapped
buy
it
it
up. Yeah.
back from them. So one of the domain registrars that I like is Epic,
Hmm.
epik.com. Epic is it's a registrar that's used by a lot of people who do domain speculation. So let's say somewhere along you've got a domain that's worth some money that you really don't want any longer. They'll help you to sell it. They've got their own marketplace.
Oh, okay.
It's really kind of cool. And I just mentioned it because I get so many questions about people who say, where do I get my domain name from? This is a good place. There's a couple other good ones, but I like Epic a lot for that reason. They also have all of the escrowing and that if you're making a sale, which is super important because you don't want somebody to,
Right.
grab your
Sneak it
domain
up.
name and cheat you out of the money. Um, Another thing that I want to mention today, a common question I get is, I need legal documents. Where do I go and get my legal documents?
Right.
Well, one of my favorite places to do that is FTC Guardian. One of my friends, Alan Cutts, is one of the principals of the organization. They started this, oh my goodness, probably 7 or 8 years ago. And they just keep adding and adding to the documents. As you can see, you've got um, all kinds of documents, basic website compliance documents, supplemental cookie documents,
Privacy statements, that kind of stuff.
you
Right.
got everything there. And so it's kind of a one-stop shop for documents.
Right.
And Chip
Keep you out of
Cooper,
trouble with the government, basically,
not just
and
the government,
some protection against like
keeps you out of trouble with
lawsuits.
everybody.
Yeah.
And Chip is a great guy. He's part of a law firm in Atlanta, and
Right.
they stand behind all of the documents that are created, which is kind of unusual. I know over the years I've had other friends who were attorneys, and they're just kind of like, yeah, that's such a tough market to get into, customizing and putting together
Right.
documents. It really is kind of difficult. And these guys have done a great job of it.
How
But
much is
you can
this? Do you
see
remember?
everything is here. You know, I bought it at the early stages and I got a sweetheart deal. And I honestly don't know what the pricing is on it now.
Right.
But it's so all inclusive with everything in it. I'm sure if we just went to FTC Guardian Let me just back up a notch. I'm sure it will tell us. But let's put it this way, even if it was quite expensive, it would be worth it. Because I mean, what does it cost to make one document with an attorney?
Right. Or one nuisance lawsuit, even if you win,
Or one nuisance
like
lawsuit.
months or years of your life.
Exactly. And maybe it's not going to tell me.
Well, regardless.
Regardless. Yeah. So, definitely something to look at. Just because we all need legal documents as time goes on.
Okay. And then you had one more
I
switch,
have
which
one
I've
more.
never heard of.
And so this is an interesting one. So Switchy's kind of a cool one. It serves as a couple of things. One of the common things right now, if we're working on Instagram or we're working on TikTok, you can only have one link, right? You can't have multiple things to send people to, or a collection of links or places that you want to have for calls to action. Switchy lets you create pages that you can put on those sites, so that not only have the links, you can shorten the links, you can track your links. As you can see, it has A/B testing, it has retargeting pixels, so you can retarget people, your customers. So it goes so much further than the common program that's used, which is Linktree, which is very, very basic.
Yeah.
So, I like this just for that reason, just to be able to have that much more flexibility with something that's very, very similar. And I think that's what I've got for today, Dean.
Yeah, I think we're going to finish a tiny bit early, which is nice because we went over by a good bit yesterday. We try to keep these at 30 minutes. So this is enough time to finish your sandwich.
Yeah.
All right. So that is it for today. As always, this is going to be stored on LinkedIn. It'll be stored on YouTube. I think it's stored on Twitter. It'll be stored on Facebook. And unfortunately, and this is no fault of the services that we like to use, it has to do with LinkedIn. The comments never seem to, we can see comments that people make on the live LinkedIn, but we can't actually reply back or make comments that are seen on LinkedIn. It's just a quirk of LinkedIn's API and how they do stuff. So it's worthwhile to go to YouTube and do a search for Way Creative, 2 words. That's the channel. Everything we do is stored there. Everything. There's like dozens and dozens of these videos now stored there, including this one in any moment now, which means it's just like the 5th, I think. I got out of whack with numbering them a little bit, but this is our 5th tools video.
Yeah.
So if you said, what was that tool? Where was that? These videos aren't particularly long, and for the most part, you can open them up and look at the comments. And whenever we can, we put them in the comments, so they're there, and you can see very quickly which tool we were talking about.
And there's so many amazing tools coming out. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta say, about a year ago, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a tool here, a tool there. It saves me a little bit of time.
Right.
Now it's like almost I've cloned myself.
Yeah, cloud and
Yeah,
cloud compute and AI have made such a big difference where it now
such a
makes a
huge
lot more
difference.
sense to just put something up and use someone else's server, where you just upload something and then deal with it there. That's really what, when you think about it, that's what Dr. V was doing with the TikTok video editor. He was uploading it and then using the editor there instead of like what I would traditionally do, which is edit the video on my laptop with Final Cut or DaVinci or maybe Premiere, and then upload the finished product somewhere else. You can upload the raw product somewhere and finish it on someone's server. And of course, that server is always going to be way more powerful than whatever you buy and have on your own, table.
Well, and the other thing that's amazing, I'd never talked too much about this. It's kind of like one of my best kept secrets, but I'll mention it today. And that is that, and I do believe it still exists, although I don't use it anymore. I do believe it still exists, but they actually have workspace computers that are cloud operated, like on Amazon AWS, that you can load stuff up on, and different tools that you need to run so that it doesn't even occupy your own PC.
Yep. You can have like a Windows machine just running in
just running in the backgrounds. And
then of course, and the thing is, you're charged for usage and for outbound I'm not going to
Right.
get into the details of how cloud
Yeah.
services charge.
Yeah.
But the point is, when you don't need it, you just shut it down up on Amazon server, or or any of those services, Azure,
Right.
Google, the cable companies, right? You just stop it. It's just a program. It's like a computer, but it's really just a program that runs, and then you can run programs in it because it's Windows or whatever. And so if you're not using it, it don't really cost you anything because you're just running it.
It's there.
And you only when you need to use it, and then turn it off when you don't.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so many different, so many more, I think, useful ways that these things are going to come together for us as time goes on.
Yeah.
If we even go that direction. So.
Yeah, it's also one of the main reasons we all use so much offline storage now, or
Mm.
online storage, that it's why you really haven't seen laptops grow much in the way of storage that they come with. Nobody needs it anyway.
Right.
Everything is stored in Dropbox or Google Cloud or iCloud or wherever. So,
Or all of the above.
yeah, or all of them, like some of us have every possible service because we
I
can't
don't
stop.
want to lose anything.
And
So.
so, it's all just kept in the cloud now. So, it's an example of where something somewhere has prevented something else from improving or iterating or growing.
Hmm.
It just makes it obsolete almost. You only need the bare minimum to get by, and the rest of it's just cloud anyway. Okay, but anyway, before we veer off into esoteric things like cloud computing
Yes.
and AI in the cloud computing and edge cloud and whatever, we're done.
We're
It's
done.
Thursday, which means we don't do videos on Fridays, so
Right.
we're back on Monday
Sounds
with
good.
a theme that we don't talk about. And then Tuesday is social media. We'll be looking at people's. If you want to, let us know. We're happy to look at them.
Yeah.
You're looking at people's LinkedIn and Facebook primarily profiles, or else activity and sort of like how they're trying to present their business or brand themselves as individuals. Wednesdays will be, of course, Website Wednesday, and then next Thursday another tools video.
I was gonna say though, we're pretty comfortable looking at anything. YouTube channel,
Oh yeah,
Instagram,
yeah,
you name it. I mean, we'll look it over for you.
yeah. Good writing is good writing, no matter where you put it.
Exactly.
All right, that's it. On behalf of Dr. V, who's no longer here, he's shopping with his wife at an Apple store somewhere. And John, thanks again for coming.
Welcome.
Next week, I think we have Heather back, and I'm Dean. We'll